We are getting ready for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. So I'm giving you a preview of all the teams, looking into the team profiles of all the teams for the tournament. And today, it starts with the island nation of Comoros, one of the countries who surprised many people in qualifying to this AFCON tournament. Comoros qualified to the AFCON top of their group. So they're in group in the qualifiers with, that is, Tunisia, Gambia, and also Madagascar. So they played 6 games in this group and they didn't even lose a single game in qualification. So they won against all the teams, won against Tunisia, won against Gambia, won against Madagascar, and also drew 3 games against these teams and qualified top of the group. The story of the Comoros national team can, however, be told in 2 different eras. So we have the first era, which is the 2019 era, and the era of Coach Ahmed Abdul, where they qualified to the Africa Cup of Nations for the very first time in their history. And even at the AFCON in 2021, and they surprised everyone, making it to the round 16 stage. And even at that stage, they almost surprised the host nation Cameroon when they lost just by 2 goals to 1 to Cameroon to get eliminated. Then they had a Ahmed Abdul era, and that is from 2022 to 2023, where they had a slight decline. So they failed to qualify to the 2023 AFCON. And that qualifies them in group with Ivory Coast, also in group with Zambia and Lesotho. And they couldn't qualify to the AFCON from that group. And they are back again, this time with Stefano Cousin. They are now head coach, building a new strong side, and they have qualified to the AFCON 2025. Both of the Comoros era have a similar project because they are all on a similar ideology. That is to bring the best of talent of Comoros heritage all under one roof and for them to gel and play together. So the Ahmed Abdul era, that was where it all started, where he went as far as every single place in France, looking and speaking with players of Comorian heritage, and brought them all together in 2014 to build a strong national team when they qualified to the AFCON for the first time in 2020. This era too is a similar strategy, and they brought in a lot of former youth French players. So players like Zaidou Youssef, who is a former French youth player, Miziani Maolida is also a former youth French player, even Mohamed Omari, also a former French youth player. All of these players played for the French youth national teams, and he was able to convince them to switch and play for Comoros, which is working just perfectly fine for them. But let's dive deep into the Comoros national team and talk about the players itself who will be going to the AFCON. And as I mentioned, this is a project based on diaspora players. So it's no surprise that in their last official game they played before making this video, I'm making this video on the 10th of November, but in their last official game they played, which was the World Cup qualifier game against Ghana, this was the starting 11 for that game. And from the players in this team, all of them, from the goalkeeper to the captain, all the players in this team were trained in France. So all of them started their football career in France. And even for this same team, apart from one player in this team, which is Rafiki Said, who was born in Comoros, all the remaining 10 of the starting 11 were born in France and started playing football in France. So even for many of them, they had even never stepped foot in Comoros before until they were brought in to join the project, which is now working well and leading them to the AFCON. But apart from Rafiki Said, 10 of these starting 11 players in their last official game were all born in France or outside of Comoros. Even they were not born in France, they were born in a region related to France, but not in Comoros. So from all I've been saying, it's simple and short. Comoros is a country that does not lack in talent. When it comes to talent, talented players, they do have it in abundance. And it's no surprise that if you look at the style of play of Comoros, you can tell that this is a quality team. So they do not play a full right possession style of play where they want to dominate the ball, go all out at the opponent and suffocate the ball of the opponent to score goals. They also do not play a full all-out defensive game where they literally have all 11 players at the back waiting to win the ball and then go on a straight counter break. No, it's a mix of all the two. So in moments, you find them holding the ball, trying to build up from the back. In other moments, you find them trying to play the long balls, bring the long balls, looking for their very talented attackers. And also in other moments, you see them trying to sit back and defend. So they have a mix of all these moments in their game where they do not have really that one style of play, but rather being more pragmatic in their approach when they play. But let's look at some of the players who are really the ones to watch out for in the Comoros national team as the AFCON is coming up. And number 1 has to be this guy, Rafiki Said, who plays for Standard Liège in Belgium. So he's one of the few players who are in this national team to be born in Comoros And his catalog is actually very amazing. You see him scoring bicycle kick goals, scoring by shooting from afar. He can even take on about 4, 5 players, dribble all of them to score because he has similar goals. So he's a quality player. And in my perspective, he's the best player actually in this team. I don't really see a lot of players having that quality, as much quality as he has. And it's no surprise that he's one of the players who plays at the highest level, plays currently for Standard Liège in Belgium. And he so far has 5 goals and assists in this season. One of the best players in Belgium already. And he's even appeared in the Belgium Team of the Week 3 times already in this season. So, of course, he's one of the men to look out for Comoros, and he'll be very crucial in the AFCON campaign. Then I also have to mention Ziani Maulida, who is a former player of Lyon, a former player of OGC Nice, a former player of Stade Reims in France, and he now plays in Saudi Arabia. So this guy actually switched from France to play for Comoros in October 2023. And since he switched his nationality, no player in the national team has more goals than him. So in 2020, from October 2023 to now, he has scored 5 goals for Comoros, and no player nears him in terms of goals scored for the national team since he switched his nationality. So he's that key, that important man for Comoros. And he's even a player who scored the goal which qualified them to the AFCON. So he'll be one crucial part for the national team. One of the players that we're looking out for inspiration in terms of the goals itself, that is Miziani for Comoros. Then I have to touch on the veteran Yusuf Mchangana. He's now 35 years, but don't be fooled. This man is one of the longest serving members of the Comoros national team. So when the national team started evolving, he was there. When the national team was more so like an amateur team, he was there during those years. When they started evolving, he was there. When they became a true underdog, he was still there. And through till now, he's still there with the national team. So since 2010, when he played his first game for Comoros, he has been playing for the national team for 15 years now, and he has played 71 times for Comoros. And he has the most caps. Nobody has played more times for Comoros than him. So the most caps in the history of Comoros is this man, Yusuf Mchangana. He's also the captain of the national team. Played for them for 15 years. And he's the second all-time top scorer for Comoros, though he's a midfielder. He is the second all-time top scorer for the national team. And though he is now 35 years at the latter end of his career, he still has a lot to bring to this team from his technique in set pieces, can take very good set pieces, his creativity on the pitch, especially when he's playing in the middle, and even his technique with his good ball striking abilities. He scored a free kick from about, I think, 30 plus yards at the 2021 AFCON. He even scored for Comoros in their last but two competitive game, which was the World Cup qualifier against Central African Republic. He scored from outside the box. So there's a player who has a very good abilities in striking the ball, very good technical player, and he will be very crucial. Though he's not at his best or in his prime, he will still be very crucial for Comoros, bringing the experience, bringing the technique, bringing everything to fold at the AFCON. So despite the promises Comoros do portray, they have actually been very, very, very disappointing in the last few games. So in their last 5 games they have played, that is as of making of this video, the scoreline is 10-3. So they considered 10 goals in the last 5 games, and then they scored 5 goals. And they lost 4 out of those 5 games, even though the opponents are relatively tougher opponents. So they played against Ghana, they lost. They played against Mali and lost. They played against even Kosovo and lost. So they also played Madagascar and lost. So it's relatively tougher opponents, but then, I mean, with the promise of this team, they should probably be doing better. And they haven't really been performing well in their last recent games leading up to the AFCON. So the next games for Comoros will be friendly games, which is a double-header friendlies. They'll be actually playing that game in Comoros. So they had been banned from playing at home for 2 years now, and then they'll be returning for the first time to play at their home country in 2 years in these friendly games, which is against Namibia. So time to maybe get on the upper hand, rewrite their story, and also gives their fans some good football. But at the AFCON, well, Comoros is in group with Morocco, Zambia, and then Mali. And this group is a very tricky group because they have a revenge story for all the teams in this group. So at the 2022 AFCON, Comoros was in group with Morocco, and they lost by 2-0. So this time, maybe it could be the time to get a perfect revenge against Morocco. Then for Zambia, they were in group with Zambia in the AFCON qualifiers for 2023, and it was Zambia who defeated them to stop them from qualifying to the AFCON. So this also presents maybe the perfect opportunity for them to get their revenge. Then in the World Cup qualifiers, they were in group with Mali. Mali beats them home and away, all by 3 goals to 0 to stop them from qualifying to the World Cup. So maybe this also is the perfect time to get the revenge against Mali. But beyond all the hypothetical stories, well, this group is actually a very tough one for Comoros to navigate. Zambia, who are former AFCON champions, Morocco, the host nation, then Mali, who have a very good, talented squad. They really have to play at their utmost best to qualify and survive from this group. But my prediction for this group, with Comoros in perspective, it's a tough group. And unfortunately, I do not really see Comoros surviving from this group. So prediction is Comoros, especially based on their recent form, to get eliminated from this AFCON group in the group stages. But you can also let me know your prediction for Team Comoros in this AFCON, in this group, in the comment section.